Welcome back everybody. Today I'm pretty excited because I'm going to be setting up a new deck. I've gone for the Jimmy Wilkins 8.62 stacked deck and I really like the look of the graphic on this one. I got the Jimmy Wilkins deck for my vert setup and the Real R1 construction is really nice. I thought the whole thing was built pretty good, so I've gone with another Real deck. Now the catalyst for going a little bit smaller than usual was my recent trip to the loading bay in Glasgow, where I rented a board and the one I got given was 8.5 inches wide. And I had a lovely old time riding that. There were a few advantages to having a smaller board. And I also feel like I'm at a bit of a plateau. So to freshen things up, I'm going to go for a new setup, see if I can transfer all my tricks over onto this. Now another thing that's new for me is this is a Popsicle shape and I'm used to riding a shaped deck. So my old Andy Anderson is starting to show a few signs of wear. It's still absolutely fine, but the main thing that's worn out are the trucks. And I'm starting to lose confidence in these trucks holding my weight, bouncing around clumsily on top. I think anytime soon it could either bend or break on the back truck. The front truck's still got a bit of meat left on it, but it's this back truck that is causing the psychological issues. I had the idea of putting this back truck on the front to get a bit more wear out of these trucks, and then that was playing with my mind because I thought if this snapped or bent and it's on the front truck, I'm going to go flying over the front. And also it felt slightly different just the way that these trucks are set up to turn. So I put it back round the other way, thinking that if it did break off the back, just loads of sparks would come up like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and I'd come to a halt in a fairly safe fashion. I could buy another set of 159 trucks for this, but then that meant I would be going just with the same setup, only having to break in a new set of trucks. So I've opted to go for the 149 trucks on the 8.6 deck. So I'm going to get into this and we can have a closer look. Bit of film there to get rid of. This is 8.62 wide. It's got a 14.75 wheelbase. And the Andy Anderson I ride has got a 15-inch wheelbase, so not a million miles away. There's a little sticker at the front of here. It's a usual warning job that says skate within your abilities. Injury or death may result from improper use. Oh my gosh, we must be cautious. So I'll whip that off of there. And this looks to be built absolutely lovely. It's got a blue stain on the top and then this incredible graphic on the bottom, the stack graphic. Now this does feel a little bit raised, so I'm thinking this is either screen printed or screen printed onto a transfer and then transferred on. But that is really nice with the wood underneath, half purple and half pink. And there's also a Real skateboard sticker. You can't have too many stickers. And then the little leaflet about the R1 construction with the concave. It's not too steep, not too mellow, and it's guaranteed to last. So that is good to know. I've got some mob grip here, which was sent with the deck. I haven't used this before, but I'm reassured it's grippy. And I'm going to do a grip job that allows me to remember which is the front of this board. So I found that with the Popsicle shape on the vert setup, it was quite easy to stick it on the coping the wrong way round. So I'm going to do a deck grip, I think, that exposes this graphic and a bit of this nice blue stain, maybe a little pinstripe job. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, that's the grip tape finished. Sort of jammed it out and got there in the end. I've gone for a design that allows me to know which end is which. And I've popped the sticker in because I thought it might pop quite nicely against the blue. To be honest, I didn't spend an awful lot of time on this. My rationale is if I don't like the mob grip, I can go for my favourite grip, which is Grizzly Grip. And I can just re-grip this at a later stage. But the main thing is to get out there and get skating. So I've popped it together. Now, I got a package from Sean Goff from his eBay shop, Todd Twist, and this has got the stuff that we need. So I've gone for the 149 hollow forged indie trucks. These are my favourite, and It just so happens that the Tony Hawk models were on special offer, so I figured if it's good enough for Tony Hawk, they're probably going to be good enough for me. So we can pop those on. I've also got some rails. I did try riding with no rails in Glasgow, but I sort of concluded that I prefer the rails because I do like to do a board slide or two, and I also like the way that the board sits on the coping with the rails on it. A couple of stickers from Sean, very nice, Vertiskater for life. Oh yes. And a rather nice Todd Twist eBay sticker, so thanks for those, Sean. And then I've also got the Bones hardcore bushings. Now I'm going to pop those in the trucks, and I've always used these, so I sort of know how they feel, and I also know how hard to tighten this screw. I usually leave a couple of threads at the top, and I know that's going to be around the right sort of tension for what I like to do. So I'm going to bolt all this together. See you on the other side. Well, there she blows, all finished. I popped on the 149 hollow Indy trucks, and I also went for my favourite 55mm OG classic Spitfire wheels. These are 99A, and I find they work really nicely on the wood and the concrete. These came preloaded with the Bones big ball bearings, and I find those are really smooth and go fast, and these are sort of pre-worn in. And I also popped on the Santa Cruz slimline rails. These are my favourite rails. They go straight in without any need to sort of pre-drill them. Any material that comes up when you screw it in is sort of housed in a little bit of a chamfer out of the back. So these go on and stay tight, and in my experience, they're some of the slidiest rails that I've found, so I really like the slimline rails. Also put the hardcore bushings in, and I like the rebound of these, and I sort of know how they feel in Indy trucks, so I just went for those just for sort of confidence. And overall, the 149 trucks fit on here a treat on an 8.6 deck. It stands in primo pretty nicely. The mob grip, I'm going to give that a go. Never tried it before, and if I don't like it, I can always whip it off and put my preferred Grizzly grip tape on. Anyway, enough of my yakking. I can't wait to get out there and give it a go. Yeah, that's right, we're back after a few sessions, and that was a lot of fun. I found the first thing I noticed when I offered the Popsicle deck up to the coping was the kicks are a lot steeper than I'm used to. The board sort of sat there on a bit of a jaunty angle, and I found to start with it put me off my stroke a little bit, especially for nose stalls and tail stalls and trying to lock into blunts. Managed to absolutely come a cropper on my first few blunt attempts because the board was at a slightly different angle than I'm used to. If I get my shaped board and just place it on top, you can see that the kicks are quite a lot steeper on the Popsicle shape. So that's something for me to get used to. I did like the size of it for the mini ramp. Felt like I could throw it around and it felt nice and nimble under the feet. But I think on reflection, when I took it into the pool and the bowl, I found it really was a lot different, and I'm not sure there's enough advantage for me to pursue it in the bowl and pool. I think I prefer the shape deck for that. And I don't think there's any surprise there, because it's fairly common knowledge that the Popsicle deck goes well for the street obstacles. And I had a lot of fun getting my slappy board slide going, and they came a lot quicker than I'm used to, just because I think those steeper kicks out me slappy up on top, and then the smaller board was easier to maneuver once I was in the board slide. Those slimline rails worked an absolute treat for the board slide, just as expected, no problems at all. And also the Tony Hawk trucks really were nice and smooth with the hardcore bushings in. I've forgotten how much more pump you can get when these hardcore bushings are fresh and the rebound is really strong. So I was zipping around the bowl and going backwards and forwards on the mini ramp with not too much effort. I did have to break these trucks in a little bit. They were a little bit tricky to use when they were brand new, because that sort of top is very skatey and it's very difficult to lock in, especially if my technique is not particularly good. But I've managed to grind the top off on the pool coping, and eventually I managed to get my usual front side and back side grinds going in the pool, and that was a lot of fun. These trucks really lock in nicely, and I'm wondering whether I should try putting these trucks on my double-ended Andy Anderson deck. So I think that might be my next experiment, is to take this rolling stock and stick it on the double-ended Andy Anderson. So in conclusion, I think I still prefer the shape deck more for the type of riding that I do, which is predominantly bowl and trying to grind the coping and trying to go fast and things like that. I think this Popsicle deck would definitely have its place. I will use it when I go for a dedicated street obstacle session, because I really felt the benefit there. But when I go down to the pool and skate the pool coping, or if I'm going around a bowl, I think the slightly larger footprint of the shape deck is still something that I favour. Anyway, enough of my yakking. If you've got any thoughts on your setup and whether you favour the Popsicle deck or favour the shape deck, then please do leave those in the comments below. I'd love to know your opinions on this type of thing. Sort of gets a little bit inside my head. I find it's a psychological barrier I've got to push through. Once I've decided on my setup, I can then concentrate back on my skating. But I've had this little blip of thinking, oh, I wonder if I should change it up. I wonder if there's something to be gained. I think experience is showing me that usually it's best to keep things the same and just concentrate on the techniques. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe. I make new videos like this all the time. You can also follow me on Instagram @JohnBishopSkate. As ever, my name's been John Bishop, and I'm a middle-aged guy learning how to skate.